Alright, so this recording system is limited to 10 minutes, so we've got to do part 2 video, and luckily now I have already rehearsed the other part. So we were going through the player and the moving AI, so we'll actually get a little picture for us to help describe. So the red AI knows that the yellow is closest because there's 6 or 7 or so squares that it has to go to reach the yellow flag, whereas going across the green would take 12 or 13 or so. So red and green, they both move up, and then yellow checks if it's on the left half of the screen and moves down towards red, or if it's on the right half of the screen and then moves down towards green. So that's the basics of the AI we used here. And then the check position here, I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the previous video. It checks if a position the player would like to move to would be a valid position, i.e. if it's on the board or if somebody else is there. And then it returns if it's a valid position or not. So then our board is just a basic 2D array with a display and get and set function. So encapsulation right there. Apologies for the lack of comments. I'm using the version I sent to you, which did not save all of the comments I put into it, so you can look at our GUI and main server classes for examples of how we would code this or how we would comment this. So please take that into consideration and ignore certain lacks of commenting. So then from the board, I guess you would like to know how we are actually connecting to the clients and servers and stuff. And I'm just going to check our time. We're 2 minutes 40. Awesome. So we get the IP of the computer running the simulation. We're going to need that to connect with the login GUIs here in game control. So we will copy and paste this for now. We need that. And then it creates an instance, a thread for each client, starts them, and then creates a game control for each one. These will be used to connect the client server connection kind of to the game. And then down here you can look at how we're actually doing the client stuff. And then we have 2 unused functions, which would be to start the game and read and write data to the game. So we weren't actually able to connect our players to the game, like the user player to the game. We just have the login GUI and the player and the kind of connection to the server that comes from that. We don't have any real operations done by the client server connection. So then you come over to the game control. So this is kind of the GUI that connects each player user to the server. So you get the GUI stuff, and then it uses 2 action listeners on its buttons to actually connect the GUI, the manager, the user, to the server through the connect class here, which takes the GUI of the player and its port and connects each one to the client that's running it and things. And then we have the run client class, which will be used to pass information from the player to the server to update on the other players, and then also to receive information from the server and update it on each player. So these are the 6 classes you need. We have this one here included in the file, just ignore it please. And then I guess you'll want to see an actual running of the game. So we've got a little bit of time here. Let's see if I can fit it in. So here we've set it just on turn 1 to show that all the players appear in their zones and they have their correct IDs. So that's awesome. And then you can actually get rid of this instance and change the turns. So we have to, I think I mentioned this before, but the turns has to happen because there's no win condition implemented in the game. So we go to turns and then we can run it. Get all of our connections. Yeah, and then you have the final map of the game on turn 50 and where all the players are and how they're trying to get close to the flags and getting tagged and getting put into prison up here. So let's just look at this here. So this is the numerical representation of the field at each turn, showing where each player moved, who got tagged, and so on. And so you can follow that because we weren't able to get the GUI to delay and update at each turn. So then down here you have a list of prisoners. So some of the prisoners get added, some of them don't. So you can kind of see one got added to Yellow's prison, but 2 did not. So each prison zone kind of extends. Yellow extends to the right here, green extends to the left at the bottom here, and then red goes up. So you can run the game a couple times and look for that if you'd like. I actually needed that. So we want you to go away, and then we're going to log on to the game just to show that the client connection stuff happens. So each box has a couple of spaces in it. So delete those first, and then you can copy and paste the IP, and then we connect it, and then start. You'd run the game, but you didn't have time to implement that. So that's player 1, player 2, and player 3. So we can connect 2 and start 2, and then connect 3 and start 3. And that is our presentation. And if you have any questions or problems, feel free to email me or Schwartz. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.